softcore and then you have the hardcore experience too. Which one do you obviously prefer? I mean, you're falling back into softcore. Is that where you feel the most comfortable? Was hardcore mainly just for that, that achievement for the world first, or is it something that you'd like to return to ever?
Hardcore is more fun to play, even just like farming items, simply because you have to play at a higher level in the game. You have to consider more factors, and because of those, there's more going on. It's more challenging on a personal level. The problem is that's really hammered down by the fact that the servers and the lag is a little out of control to be able to play hardcore. Like, if there was never any lag, if there's never any rubber banding or anything like that, then I'd probably still just play hardcore. But, I don't know, man. Leveling up that character again, just because you die lag, is like the lamest thing ever.
Yeah, I can second that. I had a disconnect the other night, and I was definitely expecting to to log back on and to see that I had died, but I got lucky in that respect. Which brings me actually to my next question. You mentioned leveling. How many characters did you lose on your progress to killing Inferno Diablo?
I only lost 2, but I leveled up like 2 extra. So
okay. Yeah. Now, you did it before 1.03, and there were still some leveling things that were in the game, and I think they were patched out a little bit before you had gone in for the kill, the cool runs and obviously Diablo runs and stuff like that. Do you think it's harder now because of some of those things to level a hardcore character or level any character really, because they have kind of taken those? I don't want to say exploits because, I mean, you were really just using a game mechanic. You're, running quests, and that's really what this game is about. Aside from the loot, which, never mind. But you're running these quests. Do you think, as a result of those kind of things, that it's made it a little bit harder for a lot of people to level?
Maybe. I mean, they're still there. Like, half the quests in this game are what we call cascadable, where, the turning gives you the bulk of the experience. I mean, the first quest that you do is like the mother quest. Like, that's cascadable. You can get like 3 friends and have 4 turn-ins per quest. And that's more efficient than any other way of leveling. And obviously, there's less risk involved because instead of 4 players doing the quest, there's only 1. So there's always going to be like this, factor of being able to minimize risk and do a really lame quest like 700 times to level up.
Yeah, that's actually how I got my first Hardcore 60. I wasn't cascading, but I was just rerunning the Wretched Mother over and over. And it was easy. But actually, I know in 1.03 they changed. Even the Wretched Mothers, they went from, it was like 40,000. Now it's down to 16. And I think you're right. Obviously, it's still a decent chunk of experience, and you're going to redo it over and over because it is minimal risk. But do you think Blizzard should have changed it in general? Like, should they have just kept it the way it was to kind of keep leveling just as is?
Yeah, I don't really know what they could have done. I think the current system is fine, simply because those that want to play through the game can. Those that have enough sanity to do one quest like 600-700 times to level up, like slightly more efficiently, they have the option to do that. I don't think it really matters, simply based on the fact that achieving level 60 is a pretty small first step compared to the rest of the game.
Which kind of ties into a nice follow-up. Does that feel right, having everything at 60? I mean, I'm coming from the old Diablo 2 days where, 99 was a great achievement, but you could feel like you were fine at 55 or 60 or whatever it was, and there was that hunt. And it kind of ties into a little bit of what you brought up with your champion levels. Does throwing all your eggs in the 60 basket feel right for a Diablo game, do you think?
No, I think it's pretty lame. Like, I was leveling level 50 legit in Diablo 1, and like right after I hit 49, when I was in multiplayer, some other guy changed my level back to level 1. There's a lot of stuff like that that's kind of lame in Diablo 2. There's obviously like, when you play Classic, which I did, you play like the Chaos Sanctuary killed Diablo thousands and thousands and thousands of times to level up. But at the same time, it gives you something to do that has a clear direction of progression that doesn't really exist at level 60 past a certain point in gear right now.
Yeah, I feel like that has kind of fueled the leveling or wanting to get to 60 as quickly as possible, because everything you want and everything that looks cool and massive damage all only exists at level 60. At level 59 will never be as powerful as a level 60. It's almost impossible. So you need to rush through it. And I don't know. I have qualms with that, but no changing that at this point. Aside from Barbarian, any other classes that you're playing or want to play or have any desire to?
I thought Monks were actually really fun, and I like Wizard. I like Wizard because of Hydra. Like it's actually a good ability that allows you to do damage out of line of sight and stuff like that. I think they need more cool stuff like that, but at the same time, it's probably a bad idea for PP coming up soon. I don't know how they're gonna handle all that. But yeah, there's a lot of cool classes out there. My biggest suggestion when people ask me, what class should I play for Diablo 3 like a couple months ago. And it's just like, play whatever you want, just stick to it. That's really, really how it goes. Like, I decided Bard would be the coolest thing, and at the beginning, most people would complain about how hard it was, but I was gonna give up on it because oh man, Wizards are so much better. And the best thing to do right now is just scrap my Bard and then re-roll a Wizard. You never want to do that.
I did find it very ironic that within the first couple of days of Diablo 3 coming out, everybody's saying how barbarians are going to be underpowered, and then obviously we get the world first Inferno clear, and it's with a barbarian.
Well, at the beginning we really didn't know for sure. It's really hard to tell, but people that did it as a group, barbarian was like pretty pivotal role in the group, just because of the ability to take damage and the ability to control mobs, and obviously the shouts is pretty big as well.
Now, you got obviously the world first with a group of people. Well, not a group, but one other. Do you find it better to play with other people? In hardcore, and I mean even in softcore, is it more enjoyable for you, or is it something that I've found that this game kind of has a tendency to push me into playing solo. Do you have that same kind of feeling, or do you really just prefer to go out there and play with other people?
Well, when we were preparing for the game, we thought the class stackability would outweigh the buffs to the mobs based on the group. Based on there being more players in the game, but that didn't really pan out to be true. In fact, it's still not true. Originally it was significant. It was pretty much impossible to play as a group,
right?
Until they nerfed the damage that the mobs did based on group play, and then it was still borderline, maybe a good idea, but pretty much not really. The main reason was that the damage was so out of control that plus 15% couldn't really be outweighed, even just from one other group member.
Right.
And at the same time, it comes from the mercs too. So if you're playing solo on a bard, you're taking whatever damage, and then that's subtracted by the bonus of the merc. Now you add a second player in the game. This is obviously pre the nerf before 1.03. You lose your merc, so you lose that portion of damage reduction, and then another player comes in, the mobs do 15% more damage, and they have more life, so they're going to drop health globes at a lower rate, and that's significant if your partner's a ranged class. If it's a melee, yeah, you can share the damage taken, but if it's a wizard, you're still the one taking all the damage. You're getting less health globes, you're taking 15% more damage, and you have less armor or whatever by not having a merc.
Right. And then you have to make sure that you're both focusing on the same thing, and
right.
And if you're splitting your targets, you're taking more time.
And it's also a matter of positioning. Positioning the mobs is really one of the biggest things in this game. And when the mobs target two players and alternate and whatnot.